Hey there, you guys. As I'm out here in this area, I have like a memory of from 7 years ago. I was still working as a consultant, and I met this guy on a dating app. He was a few years younger than me, and I really liked him. And after a first date, he had to cancel because some personal things came up in his life. That was a really hard time for me because I so much wanted to be like the loving girlfriend and be there for him. And now I understand that a lot of times when people are in pain or going through something difficult, they want to be left alone. And he didn't really know me at all. But I was just so missing being a wife, being a mom, doing things for other people, nourishing other people. And I was like, I just want to bring him some chicken soup or something to help him feel better. And he really was just wanting to figure out his stuff. It ended up that we never did go out on another date. But at that time, right after my divorce, I was so interested and receptive to being in a relationship with a man. Like, I really wanted that. I wanted to give a man everything that my husband wouldn't let me give, and receive everything that I wasn't able to receive. It was a very hard time for me as I had many disappointments, in the dating area. At that time, I was also working on my book. And now I'm at a time in my life where I don't even want that anymore. I don't know if I've just closed myself off to it. I've come to a new understanding that the world isn't as I thought it would be. The world is not as I thought it would be. And this whole idea of being in a relationship or being part of a family again, something I really wanted, I had to kind of let that die. I'm not sure if I don't want it anymore or if I just pushed it away and let it die. Like many of you who are single, watching my videos, um, may feel that same way. Some people may be afraid of intimacy and connection. Some people really want it, but regardless, it seems like it's a thing that's very difficult to come by. And for me, it wasn't about needing a man for something, it was about what I wanted to give and what I wanted to experience. And I missed certain things, like watching a man get ready in the morning, when he got ready for work, smelling his cologne, watching him polish his shoes or read the newspaper. When I would go to the department store to buy myself something, I would stop by in the kids section to look for my kids, and the men's section to see if there was a nice shirt I could get for my husband. And usually he never liked the shirts I got him, but so I eventually stopped. But it was nice to be able to take care of people and be part of a family. That was really nice, and I really, really missed that. And I guess I just had to let that part of me die out, like a little ember. One of the things that I really, really wanted was, in addition to that, was very passionate sex. I'm a very passionate woman. And recently, I don't want to go into details, I had a most moving experience that moved me to tears, actually. I think he saw me, like, I didn't have feelings for him, okay? So it wasn't about that. I don't want to date him. Like, we had no conversation that was no interesting conversation to speak of. But he was very tender with me. He was very tender with me. Nice looking man, strong, fit, nice erection, knew what he was doing, and he wanted to really enjoy me. And his way of enjoying me was, like kissing on my neck, and like he was just so slow and tender, but he knew what he was doing. and I got so turned on and I was so moved. I was so moved, and I rarely get that moved from a guy. But because of the way that he was being with me, he was hard and he moved with his strength, but so tenderly. I was so moved, and that only happens to me like once a year. I was trying to explain it so I could make a video about it. I don't know how to explain how he was, other than he was very tender, but not tender as in tentatively touching me. Like he knew what he was doing, was confident. I don't know if he realized how good he was. I kept telling him, I don't know if he believed me, but there were several times I was moved to tears, and I was like, I don't want him to see. But then I'm like, what the heck? I don't care. So when I opened my eyes and looked at him, I think he saw. But that kind of sex is really hard to find. I've had it a few times, and it doesn't have to do with my feelings about the man, because again, like I said, I didn't want to date them, but it's how they were being with me. But what I always really wanted was to have a relationship with someone who was like that. And unlike a lot of women my age, I do still like, I like candlelights, soft, tender kisses, and hard cocks. Like, I still love to fuck. I still get super wet. Well, not super wet, but I don't need lube. I still get really turned on, but it takes the way that a man is being to bring it out. Anyway, so a lot of the reason the reason I bring this up was because a lot of what I really wanted was to have a relationship just so I could have like really good sex. I love good sex, but good sex is very difficult to find. Now, for me, it has to do with how the man is being with me. I've had enough sex with men to know what good sex is. So for me, it's not just about how I feel about the guy, it's like he's actually good. Sensual good. Some women are more into the rough stuff or the kink stuff or the disconnected stuff. I like a lot of tenderness and, like I said, hard cocks combined, like that calm aggression, that slow, non rushed, enjoy me, let me open to you kind of stuff. So enjoyable. And I don't know how to get that on my own, like that surrender feeling. That was one thing I really wanted. And since we're talking about sex, I think that for men, a lot of it can be about wanting a release, whereas for me and for a lot of women, it's more about the adventure, the unknown, not knowing what's going to happen. And related to that, someone left a comment on one of my videos about why do women, love just hooking up with some random guy, but they get bored when they're married, with the sex. That's because we get bored if it's always the same. I'm that way. I've read that other women are that way too. Like with my ex-husband, it was different every time, which was so awesome. Like I want it to be different every time. I don't want to know what's going to happen. I want it to be unpredictable. Like my workouts are different every day. I want the sex to be different every day. Else I get bored. And I think women will get easily bored. And so it's up to the guy to bring his energy into it. And I always ask these guys that, like this gentleman I was just speaking of, when I asked him if he's always that way, he wouldn't give me an answer. He's like, you have to wait and see. I don't know. Because it takes a lot of energy on their part. They have to be rested. It takes energy, it takes time. And a lot of people are just having sex late at night when they're tired. It's not exciting, it's kind of boring. So for me, it's about the adventure. What can I experience? What's going to happen? It's how I feel, like emotionally, like the tenderness, the domination, the power, the adventure, the novelty, like what's going to happen. This is so exciting. It's not about needing the orgasm. So that's one thing. I think a lot of women can probably relate to that. But yeah, so I was never able to have that relationship experience. So I decided to turn my life into things that would not be like, oh yeah, I got to be this way. Some guy will like me. I have to keep my legs closed so some guy will like me. I can't be a book. My bookkeeping started after this person that didn't, that had the health thing happen. That I was a bookkeeper after. But these people that were tender with me, some of them were bookkeeping clients. So it happened at the same rate with bookkeeping clients as with these guys I was hooking up with. But I'm just, anyway, I think that I just made my life more about, okay, what's going to excite me for me? Because you can't just sit around waiting for some guy to come along anymore, because they're hard to come by. A lot of people are happy on their phones. A lot of men are not economically stable enough to even have a girlfriend. They're living at home with their parents. And anyway, I'm just out here in this very pretty spot in nature today, and I wanted to make a video because I saw this tree and it reminded me of when I climbed up on that tree, because I felt so sad about that guy. I wanted to bring him the chicken soup and he just wanted to be left alone, and I felt so sad. It's like, I just want to love on you and bring you some soup. And I guess I felt the same way with my husband, where it's like sexually, I'm like, I just want to like do things and express my sexuality or express my affection. But not everybody wants my affection, you know? Not everybody wants it. And then I guess people get very picky about who they want to give it to. But if you're single and trying to figure out what the hell is going on, so the fuck am I. Like, why the hell are we all single? I guess we're all just getting so damn picky. Like, are you more interesting than my phone? I think that's what's going on. Like, are you more interesting than my phone? And frankly, maybe most people are not more interesting than our phones. But what do you think? And I'm also curious about women, what you think about good sex, because I think it's really rare to come by that. And a lot of times when women get emotional, it's because how they feel about a guy. But for me, it's about how he's being with me and their energy. And oh my God, some guys are just like so good, but then outside the bedroom, they're boring or they're closed off or walled off. So just because they're good in bed has nothing to do with, doesn't mean that they're emotionally available, that they're emotionally open, or even that they're interested in me at all. But I tell you, I really appreciate a man who's good in bed. Really, really, really appreciate them. They have no idea how much I appreciate that experience that they give me. That's why I always think like I should have a boyfriend, because I get a guy like that, he could fuck me every night. I would want to have sex every day if it was that good. And the reason a lot of women don't want to have sex is because guys make it boring. They start out too rough, too rough. They're in too much of a rush. They don't make it about the woman. They're predictable. They're boring. They don't, and then in a relationship, they forget to give the woman attention in between. So they make a lot of mistakes, because if they knew all the tricks, they could get laid every day. But again, that takes energy, and a lot of people, I guess, don't want to put the energy into it, or they're too tired. Thank you for watching my video.